The Junkers Ju-87 Stuka was a German two-seater dive bomber that was used heavily in the first half of World War II. It was the world's first purpose-built dive bomber, but also served as a ground attack plane and even as a light transport. Introduced in 1936, the Stuka was first employed in the Spanish Civil War, which led to its refinement and provided valuable experience to crewmen. This experience was put to use in the opening of World War II, where the Stuka served as a mainstay of the German Blitzkrieg tactic. The Stuka's ability to precisely bomb enemy strongpoints eliminated the need for artillery, allowing for the swift advances of the Lightning War. More than 350 Ju-87s were available for use at the onset of the war, and they were used to devastating effect against enemy positions. They also employed the famous wind-driven sirens known as Jericho trumpets, which emitted a demoralizing scream as the planes dove. These sirens were not loved by their pilots, however, as they added drag that reduced the Stuka's top speed, and they eliminated the element of surprise. The gull-winged Stukas had a variety of features that optimized them for dive bombing. They were equipped with dive brakes and a fixed undercarriage that greatly slowed dive speeds, giving the pilot time to carefully line up a bombing run. Stukas also had hinged bomb racks that could swing downward to help bombs clear the propeller when diving. Finally, to ensure that pilots could recover from near-vertical dives, Stukas were equipped with an autopilot that would automatically retract dive brakes and pull up when a pre-entered altitude was reached. Depending on the model, the Stuka had a top speed of around 230 to 250 miles per hour, being powered by a Junkers V12 engine that generated 1,400 horsepower. Throughout the war, the Stuka's range gradually increased from around 340 miles to close to 1,000 miles with drop tanks. It was crewed by one pilot and a rear-facing gunner. Again, depending on the variant, Stukas could carry anywhere from 550 to 4,000 pounds of bombs, and some were even modified to carry torpedoes. They were usually fitted with a pair of either 7.92mm machine guns or 20mm cannons in the front, and two 7.92 machine guns in the rear for the gunner to use. While the Stuka performed admirably when the Germans had air superiority, it was a different case entirely during the Battle of Britain. Stukas were slow and lightly armed for air combat, and they were essentially sitting ducks for British Hurricanes and Spitfires. Even with heavy escort from Bf-109s, Stukas had a 20% loss rate during the Battle of Britain, and Germany had to rethink their use. The Stuka eventually found new purpose as a ground attack plane, and it used 20mm and even 37mm cannons to devastating effect against tanks. It was employed particularly well against Soviet forces on the Eastern Front, and saw heavy use during the famous Battle of Kursk, where it helped stop the Soviet advance. It was at this point in 1943 that the Stuka was becoming an obsolete use of resources, and the formidable FW-190 began to take its place in many operations. Stukas still served in some capacity throughout the war, however, and around 6,000 were produced by the time the last one rolled off the assembly line in August of 1944. And that is the Ju-87 Stuka in a nutshell.